Thank you, and good morning to all of you, to Mr. Vinod and Praveen George as well. There's always something when you enter a school, and I met Praveen outside when he greeted me and made me sit inside, and all very nice. I found out he's from Loyola College, and I was also studied there, probably one generation earlier. And then he started addressing you, and I automatically stood up. There's something about teachers which make you stand up straight, however old they are. Actually, to be very frank, I never quizzed in school at all. Never got an opportunity to. I think when I was in the eighth standard, they passed out a series of questions on a paper because someone had donated a prize for quizzing. And I can remember one question on that, and that was, who is the Nightingale of India? Do you know that? Lata Mangeshkar? Brilliant, because that's what I wrote. I later discovered it was Sarojini Naidu. But all I knew was she sings, so I thought Lata Mangeshkar should be the answer. So that's what I wrote. So that was my very first quiz question attempted. Uh, so today I'm going to, and what's interesting here for Hassan Memorial is this was where I did my very first open quiz as a quiz master in 1982 in this same place on that stage. Yes. So it's nice to for the circle to come full circle. And so last year, our son studies in the US, so we're visiting there, and we ended up in Chicago, where I wanted to see the Art Institute of Chicago, because that's where Swami Vivekananda gave his great speech of Brothers and Sisters of America, the Parliament of Religions. It was at this venue. It is actually an art institute. It's one of those famous paintings there. But a lot of paintings, too much to see. But what I was very impressed with was this. I'll give you a moment to read it because it asks you, why are you here? And this was against the wall where you come and where you enter the Art Institute to buy a ticket to enter the museum. Okay? So, and it was amazing because you want to look, to learn, to think, to grow, to see. You can also eat, buy, to have an experience, to play, question, to answer, to selfie if you'd like to believe and to doubt. And and I think this is an amazing thing to put just when you enter a museum, because it encapsulates everything that a museum should do. And I think for me, it also encapsulated everything what a quizzer is, basically to be curious and to think about things that way. As I mentioned, I am an ophthalmologist, but I also specialized subsequently in a field called neuro-ophthalmology, which deals with the connections between the eye and the brain. And there's a whole lot of connections there because the eye is actually an extension of the brain. Can anyone tell me what you see on that GIF image there? Yes? Neuron. It's not a neuron. It's actually dye being injected in your artery in the thigh. It is a tubing which goes all the way up to your neck in the blood vessel called the carotid artery. And you inject the dye, and you can take this series of X-rays, okay, images, which get converted to a cine. So what you're seeing actually is blood flowing through the brain. Okay. The picture at the right shows almost like a round a series of circles around which various blood vessels leave to supply the entire brain. And this very crucial area is called the circle of Willis. Just a minute, please. Yeah. Yeah. So this is called the Circle of Willis, named after Thomas Willis, who actually wrote this particular book in 1664. It was a landmark book. It was the first one to describe the anatomy of the brain as we know it today. And this was in the 17th century. And what was even more amazing in the book was the fantastic illustrations that it had, such as this one. Okay. Willis's associate, let me continue, is this gentleman whose name I shall not tell you now. but there is a clue in that picture for you to look at. Okay, he's famous for something else. Okay. Willis's associate studied mathematics, studied Aristotelian physics, entered Oxford University, did mechanics, was very interested in inventing instruments, combining a microscope with a telescope to study the heavens. And he also invented the injection, the hollow tube through which dyes could be injected. He literally created the way that angiogram was done in the beginning, which is the 20th century. Okay? He created that. So the instrument that you see there, which he invented, is called the perspectograph. Essentially, how do you convert a three-dimensional object such as food and draw it on a two-dimensional surface, such as a piece of paper? And this gentleman actually used that device to create the very first globe of the moon. This is a lunar globe, which he presented to the king. And it was the same device that he used to draw the brain. Put the brain in front, and then he drew it out on two-dimensional paper. So if you look at his achievements and the kind of subjects he dealt with, this was a period before the word scientist was coined. These people were all called natural philosophers. The word scientist came a little later. Okay. So, a little bit about him, and I'm going to get back to who this amazing personality is, whom I came across because of my field and because I'm interested in general knowledge and a little curious and I want to dig into things. So stay curious. So my first thing is now going to be a little interactive, and it's called What's a Quiz? Okay, what is a quiz? Okay, let me try this out. This sequence of 4 words, triangle, glove, clock, bicycle, corresponds to this sequence of numbers 3, 5, 12, and 2. All those who say it's true, raise your hands. Those of you who say it's false. Okay. Why do you say it's true? Can somebody just keep it moving? Yeah. Anyone would like to say why it's true? Yes.
Triangle has 3 sides. A glove has 5 fingers. A clock has 12 numbers. And a bicycle has 2 wheels.
Okay, let's see if that's right. Can you go to the next one? Yes, it is true. Next one. Well done. But this is not really a quiz question. This is taken from an IQ test. And you know, IQ tests are full of things like this. Okay. So while it works as a quiz question, just remember its source is a little different. Okay. Let's try one more from this side. In 2019, the government launched a panic button option that is now mandated for all smartphones. There's a 3-digit number. Okay. What is a 3-digit number? And how else can you activate that panic button? Okay. Someone knows how to call. Panic. 911 is in the US. Okay. And what if you have a smartphone? Is there something you can do? What do you do with the power button? Okay. Let's see the answer. It's 112. Okay, and or if you have a smartphone, just press 5 or 9 constantly. If you don't have a smartphone, use the power button switch. This is very useful information to know, and I would call it really general knowledge, the kind of things everyone should know. But in a quiz, it's nice to know that. So you can incorporate a little bit of this as well, something to take note. Let's try one more question. The Golden Quadrilateral is a national highway network connecting India's 4 major cities. Name the cities in alphabetical order. Who wants to go? Okay. Yeah, all right. Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai, and Kolkata. Shall we see that? Absolutely right. Well done. So there was a trick there. Okay, if you said Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, you'd have got the order all wrong. But that went past. Very well done. Good thinking there. All going good at Astan Memorial. Let's try the next one. Why do otters hold hands while sleeping? Did you try one just now? Okay, let's try someone else.
So that they don't float away.
So that they don't float away. Let's see that. Yes, so that they don't float away from each other. So I think this is a kind of a nice, fun trivia question, and those pictures look really cute. You can go on looking at those two otters holding hands. So please remember, this is a quiz. This is not an exam. So it's perfectly fine to put something fun, something interesting like this in between. Okay? This is a question. Someone asked me in a quiz when I was in college and I took part in a quiz. What is the height of the Eiffel Tower in meters? This is the response precisely. Next slide. Yeah, who cares? Isn't it? Okay. Right. Next one. So this is simply boring. Don't, if you're setting a quiz, don't put how high is the Eiffel Tower, how long is this, what does this thing weigh, stuff like that. Okay? It's easy to set. You can set 1,000 questions in an hour, but it's of no use at all. Let me put another height question. Here it is. The Tiruvalluvar statue in Kanyakumari is 133 feet high from base to the top. What is the significance of this height? Yes.
We have 133.
You have 133 Adhigarangal or chapters in the Tirukural. Perfectly right. Give it a round of applause. Now you have to give a chance to the others to answer first. I want to give the all right. In fact, the 38 feet, the first 3 books comprise the 38 chapters, okay, of virtue. So that's my question, isn't it? But I didn't ask you how high is this statue and then say, you know, it refers to the Tirukural chapters. No, put it the other way around and say, this is the height. Why do you think it's significant? Because that's the more interesting thing to know about this, isn't it? Okay, next one. That is a good quiz question. Okay, so that's what a quiz is. My second part is called play and replay. Okay, so let's do the play part first. It's still questions only. Which international organization has received the most number of Nobel Prizes 3 times? Do you people have some pen, paper, anything to write with? Just keep a note for yourself. That's all. Okay? How many of you, or let me put this way, how many of you know the answer to this question? Okay, here comes the next one. What is the name given to the outside edge of the book where pages are gathered and bound? It holds the pages together, allows the book cover to pages to open and close. There's a picture on the next slide. Here you go. That part. Think about it. If you have an answer and you have something to write, you can write it, but just keep it in your mind. Does anyone know the answer to this? I'm not going to come here. Tell me what is the answer. Okay. All right, next one. These 2 photographs demonstrate which astronomical discovery of the 20th century. You see 2 pictures there. Can we go to the next slide? Yep, they are bigger here. This part, same part of the sky, photographed in January 23rd, 1930, and then about a week or 8 days later on January 29th. And you can see that one dot has moved a bit. And go back one slide. Yeah. Anyone knows the answer to this? No one wants to raise their hand. Okay. Next one. Carry on. What is the name of the river that you see there? And what is the area marked X called? The name, you can see that river going down. This is what you call current affairs. Okay. This part of the world is in the news every day for the past 1 month. Anyone knows the answer to this? Raise your hand. I'll come to you. Don't say it out loud. Okay. Come. What's the answer? Okay, sit down. Okay, next one. This is a multinational company known for its ride-sharing, ride-hailing app. Launched a submarine ride in May 2019 at the Great Barrier Reef. What inventive name did they give to this service? Are you finding these questions difficult? Slightly. There's a kind of silence which was not seen in the first 5 questions of this quiz. All right, let's move on. Now I'm going to replay the same 5 questions written differently. Okay, now let's see which international organization has received the most number of prizes. 3. Its number could be 4 if one includes its founder, the Swiss gentleman Henri Dunant, whom you see in the visual, who won the first Nobel Peace Prize in 1901. And he also designed its famous 2-colored logo of this organization. Now look at the picture and can you tell me which organization is this? Do you have a better idea or a better guess now? Yes? Anyone? Look at that picture. Okay, let's look at the clue. I've highlighted the clues in. Yes, you want to say something? Yes. The Red Cross. Why did you say it's the Red Cross? What clue did I give you? The flag of Switzerland. I've given you the flag of Switzerland there. He reversed the colors. Can we go to the next slide? He reversed the colors of the flag, okay, and made it the Red Cross. Okay. This one. I'll do one thing if you will make it. Yeah, this is the Red Cross. Let's go to the next one. Okay, I mentioned this is a 5-letter word. Now I've given you a hint. It is also the name of our backbone, which serves a similar supporting purpose. Spine. Yes, what did you say first? Binding. Yes, okay. So now I have given you a clue. Not made it too easy, but I've given you 5 letters and I've given you backbone. Okay, next one. So that is the spine of a book. Next one. Yeah, about these 2 photographs demonstrate a moving celestial body. Which astronomical discovery? I've given you now solar system. The body was named in honor of the astronomer who predicted its existence. His name was Percival Lowell, and it was not named after a cartoon canine. Is it?
Pluto.
Is it Pluto? Why do you say it's Pluto?
P as a cartoon character.
Perfect. Solar system. L for Percival Lowell. And next one. And of course, the cartoon canine, all of you know, is Pluto, which actually came out earlier that year. And so they gave it the name because it fitted also with Neptune and Uranus and everything. All right, next one. Okay. This river gets its name from the Semitic word Yardon, meaning flow down, because it flows down from the north to the Dead Sea. It also gives its name to a country here. Which country nearby? Therefore, see, we don't know Semitic languages in Yardon, but if you say the word Yardon, think of a country there, it sounds like this. Jordan, yes, that's how you get the word Jordan. Now you see the river Jordan, okay, going down. And I have marked a place X on this side of the Jordan. And there's something different in the visual, which I've given you there, which is an arrow pointing to north, south, east, west. Look at the location of this place to the river and tell me what is the name of this place now. Anyone wants to raise their hands and say?
Jordan West Bank.
West Bank. Yes, that's well done. This is the thing in the news, the Gaza Strip and West Bank. It's called West Bank because it's in the West Bank of the river Jordan. Now, this is in the news. If you want to dig up why is it called West Bank, and you Google it and read it, you'll find all this information. So, being a little curious and useful, but also it's how you set the question. Okay? And the next one. Okay. Now you know this. I've given you some logos. I want you to smash up those two words and make an interesting new word out of it. They share a lot of common letters. Look at that activity. It's 5 letters. You can see the dots on the top, plus that logo of this thing on your app, which you can call if you want a taxi. 4 letters will give you the answer to this. Would anyone like to work out what the first activity is? Yes? Scuba diving. That's correct. It's scuba. And that logo is anyone? Uber. Now, can you combine scuba and Uber and come up with something? See how many letters? Scuba. Can we see that? Absolutely right. Scuba is what it is. If you go back now, now you can see the clues, isn't it? Once you've seen the answer, you can see where those clues are. And this is a very typical feature of quizzing in India. Most of the quizzes you attend will have lots of interesting clues, some little cryptic wordplay in the question, which might lead you. So you may not know the answer. I have not heard of this scuba, but if I give you clues, you can work it out and say, oh, that's a nice, interesting name for this particular service. Trivia question, but it's fun. But to answer this, you need to know this thing activity is called scuba. You need to know that is a logo of Uber, and then you try and work it out. So work out from what you already know. So being generally curious and generally aware is what we are looking at. Okay. My last series of 10 questions is stay curious, be inquisitive. I like that word inquisitive because it's all about curiosity. It also contains the word quiz in it. Okay. All right. First question, which ruler connect this sculpture called the lion capital, that is the official emblem of India? And in that emblem, what is the missing feature which has been blanked out? I have a bigger picture on the next slide. Take a look at that. Next slide. Yeah, here you go. With which ruler would you associate? It's called History School, the lion capital of Ashoka is right. So that's one part. Fourth lion is not missing. This is the emblem. There is something very important in the emblem that I have blanked out, cropped out of the image. Yes?
The base.
What is in the base? The base of the sculpture. Okay. Something else. Below the base. Yes? Yes. Not the lotus. Not Ashoka's chakra. One more guess from this side. Okay, if I give you one more clue, what 2 words are missing from this emblem? Yes.
Satyamev Jayate.
Is that absolutely true? Let's take a look. Yes, it is Satyameva Jayate. So the first part, Ashoka's lion capital is straight out of your school history books. I think you should know that. But the second part, you may have observed it and you know it. When you've seen it, you never really noticed it at the bottom. And so when I crop it, you don't notice it. So it's something worth remembering that that is also part of your logo. This is something about observation. Just keep a watch on things. Try and work it out. Okay, next one. Okay, this works 2 ways. It's geography and something, a bit of trivia, interesting thing on the side. State, and it's referred to by its older name in our national anthem. So if you want to quickly rush to the national anthem and figure out which state is this. Okay. Should we try your teachers at the back? There's universal teachers should be tried. Yes, you want to try. Punjab doesn't look like this. Yes. What? Yes, I wanted to say so.
Odisha.
Odisha is right. Now you try and work out in the national anthem how you don't get the word Odisha there. What word do you get? You start with Punjab and carry on. Punjab, Sindh. Is it Sindh? No, it's not part of India. Gujarat. Is it Gujarat? Is it Maharashtra? Is it Dravida? Is it Karnataka? Utkala is there. And what else is there? Banga what? Bengal. Isn't it? Is it Bengal? So what's left? Which you skipped? Utkal. Which you said. Okay. So by elimination, you can work out Odisha. Utkala is the old name, okay, of Odisha. They call it Utkal Divas, Odisha Foundation Day. Okay. Next one. Okay, vaccines to prevent which disease that is triply and occasionally fatal were discovered by Jonas Salk and Albert Sabine. Which disease? I have a picture for you on the next slide. So this is where visuals come in useful. Take a look at this picture. So you can see the age group. Polio. Well done. Polio. Well done. Incidentally, what's interesting is the last reported case of polio 2011, because we had the pulse polio immunization program, and that's virtually removed polio from the map of India. That's an amazing thing. So if you have, as a quiz master, anything interesting extra to talk about, you can put it in the answers list. Okay. Right. Next one. This is a scene from a store where they are trying to eliminate a factor from the purchase decisions that its customers make. I'm looking for a 7-word idiom or phrase that aptly reflects what this store is trying to tell its shoppers to do. Take a look. It's a very interesting looking picture. Next slide. You can see all those, what looks like books. It says best selling, welcome, if you liked the thing, etc., etc. Yes?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely right. Well done. Stand up. Round the applause. Yeah. Don't judge a book by its cover. Wizard of Oz, we all know, we've seen that kind of image. But the image on the other side, I can't figure out, looks more like Dune rather than Wizard of Oz. Okay. So don't judge it by the image on the right side. Go by its content. So beautifully worked out. So this is a kind of a nice quiz question. It's about English language and phrases, but put in a slightly interesting way with a visual attached. Okay. Next one. Yes. 83. Okay. This doesn't need any further comment. Okay. 83. And if we are being kind, because people make mistakes, 1983 is also okay. So, next one. Artist and subject. Let's go back. Anyone here? Yes. Mother Teresa. Yes, very typical of Mother Teresa sari. And artist, most famous Indian artist. Can you, if you don't know, you can guess something. No negative. Do you know any Indian artist's name? Okay, let's try. Do you know any Indian artist's name? Anyone can come up with a name? Yes. Okay. Yes. M.F. Hussain. Do you have any other name? That's the only name you know, an Indian artist. So note to yourself, look up 2 other names to guess. In case someone already says M.F. Hussain and it's wrong. In this case, you're right. It is M.F. Hussain. Well done. Okay. Okay, Shakespeare's play about the son avenging his father's murder by an evil uncle was made into a famous Disney animated film of 1994. name the play and the film. You see an image of Benedict Cumberbatch holding that skull. That's from the play. And there's a line from the play which is a bit funny. Yes.
The Lion King. Lion King.
Chumma Lion King in only you can't say. Okay, guess the play. You have an English teacher here, no pressure. Sherlock Holmes. Okay. Okay, who's going to guess the famous Shakespeare play? Yes. To be or not to be is perfectly that. You worked out the line also, and that was in the question. The answer, of course, is next line. She got it right. Give her a round of applause there. It is Hamlet. Uncle feels the king, which is the plot line of the play. Okay, next one. What is the name of this unique structure in Rajasthan? Well, its name in English. Okay. So let me put here this underrepresented corner. Mahal means what? Palace of Winds is perfectly right. Well done. Palace of Winds. Okay. It's just a series of windows where the women folk you could sit behind. This is an interesting visual. It came in a quiz and said this is the other side of what famous structure. So the Hawa Mahal is not a building, it's just a facade containing a series of windows. So the women could go and sit on the other side. Can we have the answer slide? Next slide. Yeah. They could sit this end and look at procession, everything without being observed by the people on the road. Okay. So it's just a series of windows. Okay. And it's obviously full of breeze. It's called Hawa Mahal. Next one. I'm trying to spot someone with his haircut here. I failed to find anyone here. Okay. Come on, stand. It's not easy. He refused to answer the test. He's exercising his First Amendment rights. Yes, the lady at the back. Mushroom, yes. Mushroom. Mushrooms are on the ground, not on your head. So, okay. All right. And my last question. If you look at this picture, what should be the final color of this face? Yeah, there's a lady. Yellow. Why?
Yellow.
Because the center is yellow. I think you need to know that the only pieces which do not move in a Rubik cube are the center squares. Okay, so that is yellow. Now, why did I put this set of 10 questions here for you? Is this next slide? These are the topics. These are the answers. So, in these 10 questions, I've asked you history, geography, science, literature, sports, arts, entertainment, culture, life, and one miscellaneous question in the end to make a set of 10. If you've thought this was relatively easy, you want to make a tougher set, you can put another set of 10 questions and make it more difficult. Okay? And more importantly, there's a fair proportion of Indian content in this. Usually, many of the quizzes sometimes will be too much of Western stuff, American stuff, hardly anything about India. So you have separate India quizzes happening also. Okay? But that's because general quizzes don't contain much of Indian content. If you consciously try and make an effort to set a quiz, put some Indian stuff also into it. Now, where did I get this list of topics? It's freely available. Next one. Including subdivisions of these topics. If you go to World Quizzing Championships on their website, you not only have those topics there, you have subtopics. Under history, you can have ancient history, modern history, politics, whatever it is. And you can make up your own subtopics as well and continue because it's a sea of questions and sea of knowledge as well. Next slide. Yeah, so next one. So I came back to this gentleman, okay, who did so many things like inventing a needle to inject, literally inventing angiography, coming up with a drawing of the brain, which is the first time which people have seen the brain in this kind of architectural structure. None of us today remember him for all these things. We remember him for, there's a clue in the picture. Not Newton, he was Newton's colleague, he was Robert Boyle's colleague. Yes. Leonardo da Vinci is 1490, this is 16 something. Okay. His last job, surveying and architecture. Okay, next slide. Okay, next one. This is Sir Christopher Wren, who, if you look at the painting and the building at the back, next slide, who's the one who designed, most famously known for designing St. Paul's Cathedral in London. That's what we remember him from today. In fact, he's buried there, along with the other famous people in England. So why I wanted to put this up for you is, Christopher Wren, there was this concept in that period called the Invisible College. It did not have buildings. It did not have students. It just had a group of people who were interested in different subjects, who used to meet together, maybe over a cup of coffee or whatever it is, and share knowledge, share ideas, and encourage each other in whatever ways. Now, if you're interested in something, and I do not know what you're interested in and what you're doing, and you may not know what I'm doing in my field, but if maybe over a cup of coffee or we're sitting and chatting about it, you may come up with something that might give me an idea to do something in my field. Okay. In fact, this is an idea which is coming in nowadays. In fact, this book is called New Invisible College, which actually talks about how the internet is engaging people with so many online courses. You really don't need to belong to a fixed brick and mortar institution. Next slide. I highlighted those three words: meeting, exchanging ideas, and encouraging each other. I think that is very, very important, because what happened, this is the period before science itself was named as science. As I told you, they were called natural philosophers. Next slide, come here. So, just like the world, next slide. Just like the world moved and separated from Pangea and all the continents, as specialization happened, as knowledge expanded, different specialties and fields came about. Science broke into physics, chemistry, biology. Biology broke into botany and zoology. Zoology broke up into so many things. Everything split apart. In fact, if you look at that map, it's not just mentally split apart, even physically separated. This is a map of Harvard University in Massachusetts, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Many universities are designed like this, where the Department of Biology is 1 mile away from the Department of Physics, which is 1 mile away from maybe the English department, whatever it is. Okay, so I think it's important that physically this is what has happened. But next slide. In the 21st century, we have something known as convergent sciences. It's not enough to be very good in your field and your narrow field alone. It is important for you to have a good general grounding on several things. For science, not only science, which is why abroad science students always have to take a humanities subject, whether it is literature or history or whatever it is. You need to have a little more knowledge. Otherwise, how would you know if you're sitting only doing neuro-ophthalmology? I may not know anything on computer or what's going on in physics. Okay, so some amount of interaction is happening, and out of this, so many innovations and discoveries have happened because of this kind of meeting. I will leave you with one example. Okay, here it is. Next one. So the word trivia actually comes from tree, which means tree. Via means roads. Okay, trivia. Because those days, in the middle of these three roads in the junction, people used to set up a market on Sundays, and you have a lot of people coming and gossiping and talking about nothing important. That's how you put the word. Something is very trivial. Okay, but I have this example for you. What is that? That's a black hole. So that's how we used to conventionally understand how a black hole looks. There's a hole in the middle and everything spinning around it, and everything gets sucked in. Okay? Until 2014, next slide, when this theoretical physicist, his name is Kip Thorne. Okay? He came up and introduced, he was influenced by this other gentleman. Who's that? Christopher Nolan. For which film? Interstellar. Okay. So for Interstellar, Nolan actually wanted to know really how did a black hole look like. So Kip Thorne actually went back to the Einstein's gravitational formulae, etc., fed it into a computer which could render the images. Okay, fascinating article in several articles, including Wired magazine has an amazing description of how this was done. But they came up with this. Next slide. With this completely different looking view. All of you are very familiar with this photograph of the black hole because of the way light bends because of gravity. So there's a term for that. Bending of light due to gravity is known as what causes light to bend. What are those instruments? Lenses, isn't it? Okay, so this is called, next slide. So this is called a gravitational lens. Because of gravity, light being bent and distorted, the amount of gravity is so strong, it bends. And this actually resulted in research papers published by Kip Thorne in journals like American Journal of Physics, etc. Okay, so see what a movie influence did to physics and to our understanding of black hole, sufficiently scientific enough to actually be published in proper science peer-reviewed journals. Kip Thorne, incidentally, 2017 won the Nobel Prize for Physics. Okay, for his lot of work he's done on black holes, etc. Next slide. Okay, so this my last two slides. This is me. Thank you, KSA Trust. This was the Champions of Chennai Award, which was given to me by I'm here. But I thought for pure entertainment, let me show you another picture. Yeah. Okay. That extremely cute kid, even if I say so myself. That's me in 1976. I was 14, and my mother found I used to play the piano and I got a prize from the Calcutta School of Music. So she said, you know how mothers are, they'll immediately put you in your fine clothes and take a picture. Okay, so before the days of mobile phones. Next slide. So if you look at from 1976 till today, my life has been a series of rather fortunate events. Okay, next slide. So if you look at how we all go through life, I mean, I did my PUC in Loyola College and then ICSE in Calcutta, and then I did my BBS here in Madras Medical College, postgraduate in the government eye hospital here. And then I joined Shankar Nethralaya, and I started as a fellow there and went on and finally ended up as a head of the Department of Neuro-Ophthalmology there. And at a very late age of 40, after having taught a whole lot of other students to go and write the FRCS, a group of us who were senior consultants in Nethralaya decided, why don't we write the exam ourselves? Now, it's a huge risk. Imagine you're already an established ophthalmologist, you go and write an FRCS exam and you fail. Now, that's a risk, isn't it? But our idea was more that I think we are at 40, 42, 43, and we last read ophthalmology seriously as an exam when we were in our 20s. 20 years has gone by. It's a nice opportunity to go through the whole thing all over again and read. And there's nothing like an exam which motivates you to go and study. Otherwise, things will never happen. In my case, it's paying the fees. So if you pay some 250 pounds to write an FRCS exam, you jolly well make sure you pass the exam. Okay. So we all wrote that and we passed. And then I got an opportunity to work in Hong Kong at the Chinese University and in China. And then I came back and started, along with my friend Srinivas Rao, we started a clinic in Kuala. But this is a standard thing. But I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. I just take it from here. Thank you so much, Billy. So if you look at it here, my experience in the Chinese University of Hong Kong led me to some recognition in the Asia Pacific region. So I ended up being the Asia Pacific coordinator for ophthalmology. That in turn led to several things along the way, being a member of the Journal of Neuro-Ophthalmology Board, because people recognize the name now and say, why don't you do that? I'm the only Indian right now on that board. 3 in Asia. And last year, I think with all this and also with a lot of gray hair, people have decided that you can now be president of the Indian Neuro-Ophthalmology Society, which I am very proud. But this is just, okay, this is your professional thing. I started quizzing actually when I was in college, not in school. And a senior wanted to set questions for an intercollegiate quiz. He said, please set questions. And I was reading stuff then, so I said, let me put it down. having put down all the questions and written the whole quiz, he said, since you've written the whole quiz, you conduct the quiz. So I actually ended up conducting a quiz. That was my very first outing as a quizzer. After that, I started taking part in quizzes. But because of that, I was my colleague in another college in DG Vaishnav. His father was the president of the Madras Book Fair. And his father said, look, since you're doing quizzes, why don't you conduct the book fair quizzes for us? His name was Mr. Padmanabhan. The very first Madras Book Fair quiz in 1982 was held here. Yes? Okay, was held right here in Assam Memorial, and we did it for 3 years here. And that in turn, one of the chief guests on one of those functions was Mr. S. Muthaya, the historian, and he said you should do the quiz. And we started this Quiz Foundation of India, which is a quizzing group in Chennai, and it's still running very, very actively today, even after 32 years. And that took me to the first landmark quiz because the owner of Landmark being a bookstore, all connected to the book trade. And that was going on. The August 15th quizzes, which I started in 1994, are still going on today. In fact, we did one this year as the 30th consecutive year. But because I've been involved in quizzing, people ask me to write books. So I've done a couple of quiz books and then some Macmillan ones. Can you please do a general knowledge series of books for schools? So I did, I think, from class 1 to 8 or something like that for Macmillan, and then later for for Cambridge University Press as well. Apart from writing quiz columns in newspapers, the odd thing was because you go on stage and you present and you speak properly, you end up doing comparing shows and emceeing events. I did for a lot of people, including when Maniratnam released all his films as DVDs. And there was an interview with clips and all that we did. And recently, I did a book launch for Amish's latest book. Series. So, because of speaking, I ended up getting opportunity to do voiceover for documentaries as well. And my other interests include writing. As I was telling Naveen George, I did 3 months of BA English literature at Royal College. I also was interested in drawing and painting when I was in school. So my mother actually had taken an application form for National Institute of Design in case I don't get into medicine. And my passion is music. I play the piano, and I probably would have got a scholarship to the Moscow Conservatory from Calcutta School of Music. But all that was nipped in the bud, saying that's not really important right now. Okay, so. Yeah, but then because of this journalism, creative writing, I ended up being able to write. I was the editor of House Journal of Shankar Nityalia for 15 years. And because I was writing and involved in creative writing, I ended up doing scripting movie documentary for Nityalia for the Temple of the Eye and being assistant director to what you say, S.K. Mudravan and Williams, which was that was but such a humble person I am not meant to be. And very, very oddly, because of this association, Alien Studios, I accidentally ended up acting in 3 or 4 episodes of Alien serial Monday, which I can assure you I will not inflict upon you ever again. So that's the story of my life. I thought I'd put it down now so that you can see that people say, how do you do all these things? Yeah, you find time to do it. And my name is Jayakumar, Naveen used to call me Jack. So you call me Jack of all trades, master of none. Go and Google that line. Because if you see that, those are only the first 2 lines. And there are 2 more lines that follow that. It's Jack of all trades, master of none. But better that. Still just 1. Thank you all.